Hey guys, let's start with the first episode. It's going to be very interesting. Let's start with the cosmetic things, aesthetics of the application before we move into the meaty things of uh, application like integrating the Node.js server and everything. So let's start with the aesthetics right now, which is like the landing page as well as the login page creation. We will not hit the login server, but then we will end up this episode with the login screen, which is going to look very pretty. I can assure you that. Let's get started. Let's create by start by creating a new project. So I'm just starting a new project. So I'm just having a second screen because my actual code is residing in another screen which I'm gonna refer. So let's start with creating a single view application. Similar approach for every Viper architecture project where we start with a single application, single page application. So I'm gonna call this application as let's connect. Rest of the things, like it's going to be a Swift programming language. Maybe core data I can add it later if you're actually agreeing upon using core data. So let's connect. Team is going to be my personal this thing. I'm gonna use that. Create, let's connect. I'm gonna have it within the iOS create. I'm not going to add it yet to the repository because I already have a repository project for this. I'm just gonna use the other one for the repository stuff, like for sharing with you guys through my Patreon site for on subscription basis. So we created this project right now. I'm gonna point it to, let's say, 13. You can even point it to a down version. Maybe it can also be starting from 11. I'm gonna keep it at 13. If your requirement is to have it at 11 or something, then you can keep it as 11. I'm just gonna use that. Maybe just portrait is enough. These things are gonna go away. Like I'm not gonna use a main storyboard. So that's going to go away. So that's pretty much what I have right now. So the project is created right now. Now let's, the first thing which I was talking about, like everything is going to be a framework module here instead of the regular projects folders I used to add everything there. So instead of that, I'm going to start with the modules. So maybe let's just run this and see what's going on right now. I'm just going to run it. It's going to show a blank screen. That's where it's going to start with hitting the scene delegate. So these are the new type of projects. So this is nothing but a blank screen. So you can just see nothing right now. So we're gonna start building this over Viper modules. Stop this, and first thing first, let me create a folder called modules where all of the frameworks are gonna reset, all the modules which are we are gonna use in this one. So I'm gonna call it modules. And then first module that I'm gonna build right now is called add it as a target, and then go to the framework and libraries, not static library. We're gonna create it as a framework. Click next, and then I'm gonna call this as the first thing window, which is like the base of everything, where we need to load everything, which will be the window module. So I'm gonna call it as window. This finish. So that's your first module, first framework which is created, called a window, and it's going to support iMac, all those things. I'm gonna keep this as 13, and I'm gonna move this framework to the modules folder. So this is my folder. It's gonna right now give me a compilation error because the info.p list will not be pointing to that new location which we are added right now, called the, so we need to change that. So let's do that. Go to the frameworks, go to the window, go to build settings. I don't know, this is one way I could fine to do this. If you have a better way, let me know. So it's going to be modules, I guess. Okay, we need the modules. We also need the name of this. Let's connect. This is where it needs to point right now. Run this, it should be fine. So it compiled now. It compiled fine now. So that's it. So you have the window module available. So what we are going to try do now is we are going to remove this dependency of the project launching using the window. Where is that? Okay. General. So it's using right now this main interface to launch your application. We are going to get rid of that. Instead, you'll use this window to actually launch your application. So that's first thing. So your window is ready. So let's create your window, whatever is required for the window. For first thing is we need to have a class for window. New file. You're gonna add it to this framework, so you should be careful about that. Whatever framework that you're added right now, you need to have that file within that framework itself. So I'm gonna call it as window. So this is actually going to inherit UI window. So you have this window.swift create. So let's create the class called window, which is going to inherit from UI window. So we need UI kit for that. So these are the same kind of approach which we had done even in the earlier episodes. That's my window. Some of the things I'm gonna override here because I need to pass a scene delegate here. That's new stuff that we'll use right now. So let's come to that in a bit. Maybe I can create that one as well. So I'm gonna override init, override the scene delegate one. And then accept the Windows scene. Maybe even this one. It should ask for required init as well, I guess. Yeah, it should ask for that. So let's implement that as well. I'm gonna just call super.init. Coder, pass the same coder. That's done. So window is ready. So we need, because it's a VIPER module, we need whole of that stuff like the presenter and everything. So let's create that as well. Let's call it as we can even call it plain presenter, because earlier we used to call it module specific names, but because these are embedded within its own frameworks, we can just give that whatever name is required, like let's say presenter itself. I'll come to that later, but then this is what I'm going to do. Add to the window presenter, create. So we can create as a class called presenter, and it needs to have its own protocol. Let's create that as well. Okay, protocol with presentation. So every presenter will be implementing a presentation protocol. So that's why we'll be exposed to different views and other layers. So presentation is got what the presenter will implement. That's done. So what are we coming to? Like this window right now, we need to use it for launching. So let's just do that right now. It just needs to launch my module, which is right now going to be the landing page. So let's do that. So presenter is ready, so it needs to have its own init, and because this is a VIPER architecture, we also need to have a router for this. So let's create a routing protocol for that router, where it is going to have a function called route to landing. I'm gonna just call it as route to landing page, and I'm gonna create a router class for that. Router, call it router, and we can implement using the extension router implements routing. So it's going to ask to implement that function, route to landing page. So this is what we will use to show the landing page, because this can also maybe only the first time when the app is launched we need to show the landing page. After that you don't need to every time show the landing. It's just that information about the application. After that, maybe you can directly go to the login page. The first time, this is what it goes to the landing page. So I'm just gonna create that one right now. So we need to have, so the presenter is ready. You need to have an instance of presenter in your, it needs to hold an instance here. So var presenter is presentation. So you need to have that instance. So when you create this window, you're gonna actually reference the presenter. So overall, it's going to get built using a builder. So I'm going to create something called as a window builder, but I'm just going to just call it as the builder, because it's within its own framework. So you can just keep, every framework is going to have the same structure. If it's going to have carry only one module, it will have this presenter, interactor, all those things. Not the interactor, presenter, the view side, and router. All these things will be within its own modules. So these are my modules right now. So I'm just creating a window builder. I'm going to call it as class builder, and a function called build to build that window. It's going to return a UI window. So we need to again import UI kit here. UI window is what this is going to return. So we know what this is going to create. Let window equals to window, this instance which we right now created. Save it. This is what it's going to return, window. But before that, it's going to need all the dependencies. Needs an argument. What would we pass? We did pass the scene delegate. So Windows scene is what it needs. So I need to pass a scene, UI scene. This is what it's going to accept through the builder. So as soon as I have it, arguments do not match the overload. What do I need to pass? Window builder. Okay, it should be UI Windows scene, not UI scene, window scene. And so maybe I just modify it's accepting a Windows scene, UI Windows scene. So missing argument, Windows scene. That's what. So maybe I'll just call it as window scene. And it should return a UI window. That's it. That's what this builder does. It just returns a window. So you also need to associate the dependencies which are required here. So some of the dependencies that we need right now is the presenter which we created. Let presenter equal to presenter, and it should accept. Right now it's not accepting anything, but the window is actually referencing presenter. Window dot presenter equals presenter. That's what the dependency is. Now we need to pass the router instance to the presenter. So for that, let this accept through the init the router using the routing which we created, and then this needs to then hold a reference of router. Let router routing self dot router equals router. That's the first thing. Expected var. So that's done. So it's required to pass the router. So let router is equal to, just gonna create the router instance and pass it. So the presenter is created, and we associated the presenter with the window, as well as the router is associated now with the presenter. So those whole dependency is now created. So what all things are needed now? We have the router. We are not doing any use case handling right now at this point, because this is more like launching a landing page right now. So we don't need the use cases as yet, but then when it comes to loading the screen and all at a later point, before we need to validate whether user has actually whether the landing page is already shown to the user already. In that case, we don't need to show it again. That's kind of a use case we'll handle in the upcoming episodes. But then here we are going to show a landing page, and then from there navigate to a login page. That's what we're going to do right now. So window is created. Window reference we have, so because this is within a framework, if it needs to be accessible outside, we need to make whatever is needed outside to be public. So I'm gonna use this public. It's going to be a static function, public, and this is not going to be overwritten. So I'm going to make it as final. So this is what my framework function, which is going to be nothing else is available outside. Whatever this accepts is a window scene, UI window scene. Using that, it builds this window and returns that. So that's what it pretty much does. So whatever we need to expose to a separate module is done using public, and it's available through a public static function. So our window builder is ready, and let's so we need to now get rid of the normal flow. So let's see what all things are going to break right now. Go to my let's connect, remove the main dependency. So now it's going to not launch using the, I guess, regular approach. It's still showing a blank screen. I'm not pretty sure what's going on right now, but whatever we are gonna do is we need to go to the scene delegate. It used to be earlier through app delegate, where it did finish launch options was the normal approach of launching things. But now with iOS 13, iOS 13, we have things moved to the scene delegate, which is more related to how we are going to handle iPad OS things. So it can have multiple windows for the same scene and all that things. I'm not pretty much sure how it's going to work, because I have not done much with the scene things and iPad OS. Once I come to that, maybe I may be able to comment more on this. But then right now, this is where we are. We need to show this start the builder window from here. So we have this scene instance available here. All that we need to do is get that scene window scene here. Maybe I call it as window scene, and then I can just use that builder. Let window, can say window. Okay, we need to get this first thing. We build this, but we don't have that dependency available here. So for that, let's go to, it's already added because we added it to the let's connect itself. So window is right now available. So all that we need to do is go to the scene delegate and import window which we created. So that will make sure that window is available, and that will make us the window available. So we already have this window instance UI window, all that we need to do is window equals window dot builder dot build using the window scene. So this will make the window instance build, but we are not able to see anything yet because we don't have any landing page yet created. So let's build it. After that, let's see what goes on, because right now I don't know, maybe I can just test it right now by adding a label or something here, because we are just not seeing anything. So maybe even change the background color of this one from this to maybe an orange color, so whether we see that again. So it's a white screen because that we removed that dark screen, because we removed and now it is launching through this scene delegate. Right now it's hitting this one, but it does not have any window or a view to show right now. So it's coming here, but it does not know where to go from here, because we have defined let's say a route here, but then we are not routing anywhere. So we need to do this right now. Where are we routing? We need to tell it. So for that, this router needs to now accept some modules to show, like first thing. So whatever we covered right now is creation of a window as a framework using a VIPER architecture. So that's pretty much covered here. Now let's create what we are interested in right now, which is a landing page to show.